I think it goes without saying that the times that we are going through are exception on many levels. Obviously, on a political level, on a geopolitical level, on the level of the media, and at the heart of what you're involved in is addressing the Muslim community here in the UK, their roles, their responsibilities, their impacts there. If I was to start off by asking a very, very broad, very generic, very wide question, what are the main concerns of Muslims here in the UK? And obviously, when we're talking about the Muslim community, we're talking about a very varied community of different ethnicities, of different races, different languages, of different ideological thoughts, madhahib. We're talking about Sunnah Shia. We're talking about all facets of a multicultural, multi-ethnic, ideological community. So what would the main concerns of that community be today?
Okay. Yeah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, let me lay down a foundation that might surprise many of the audience. Many people think that, as you said, that we are going through an extraordinary period of time. And they think that this is a negative one. In fact, I believe that it is a positive one. It's not because I'm an optimistic person. Alhamdulillah, I'm an optimistic person, and the Prophet ﷺ used to like optimism, and he used to be an optimistic person. And we as Muslims are commanded to be optimistic people. But let us talk about facts. Okay, let us talk about facts. And why do I mention this? Because this, psychological, intellect is not pure intellect. Intellect is a reflection of your social status, of your even physical status. The whole body, as you know, that the human being is a connected powers.
Of course.
Okay, it's not just one power.
Absolutely.
You cannot divorce the intellect from the psychological, from the spiritual, etc. This is so crucial. Now, let us talk about facts. I'll ask you, Sheikh Anas, because this is not an interview, this is a discussion. How many masajid were there 20 years ago, and how many masajid are there now?
I would suggest double the number now.
At least.
Yes.
Okay. How many young people now? Because some people might say, you are talking about buildings. We don't care about buildings. إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر. So Allah Jalla wa Ala said the real amara of the masajid, the establishment of masajid, is not the buildings.
Yes.
Okay, is a human beings. But this doesn't mean, the ayah doesn't mean this. But let us talk about human beings. Regarding the young practicing Muslims who are proud of their Islamic identity, brothers and sisters who are visible in the political life, in the social life, everywhere. What do you think? 20 years ago or now?
Again, double.
At least. Yeah. Even representation in the parliament. Yeah.
True.
It is almost more than double.
True.
Representation everywhere. In government buildings, in
the media,
in law,
judges,
in sports, everywhere.
True.
So now, this is in the UK. And by the way, it is the case in Europe. And let me say something, Sheikh Anas, very interesting. I was once 3-4 years ago in a Muslim country, not Arab country, a Muslim country. I don't want to mention the name of it because of the sensitivities.
Yes.
And I had, that I'm working with young people. This is my main focus now. So we had, the brothers had a program, university students. So it was a bit late. So I had a meeting with the young brothers, not sisters. There were maybe 50 plus of them. So I said to them, close your eyes. We were not practicing a Sufi practice, but close your eyes. How many of you are memorizing Quran? So these are university students all practicing.
Yeah.
So 3 people raised their hands out of maybe 60, something like this, between 50 and 60. So, and those 3, they were foreigners, not of that local. Yeah, I don't want to make a mistake and mention the country. So I said to them, you know what, brothers, if I were in the UK and ask practicing people, how many of you are memorizing the Quran, at least 10% will raise their hands as huffaz, as those who memorize the Quran.
Right.
They said, what? In the UK? I said, yes, in the UK. 10% at least. You, Sheikh Anas, I don't know whether you witness the number of organizations that are doing hifz programs. We have our now imams, young imams in the UK, and I would like, because Al-Hawar, mashallah, is an international channel, I would like to present these things in front of the whole world. Yeah, because now, you know, with the depression many Muslims are going through, especially with what is happening in Gaza, I find that it is of paramount importance to highlight the real situation of the ummah in a positive way, not just fake it. No, okay, it is real, not fake it until you make it. It is real. So here in the UK, our shabab who lead Taraweeh prayer, we just finished Ramadan, some of them, they lead with 2 qira'at, with 3 qira'at. One of the brothers managed to lead Taraweeh in Abi Amr al-Dani, riwayat Abi Amr al-Dani. You don't see it in...
Quite exclusive, very exclusive.
Very exclusive. You don't see it where? In Muslim countries.
Muslim countries, correct.
Yeah. Now, what does that mean? It means that we as a Muslim community in the UK, we are flourishing without a shadow of a doubt. And it is similar, the situation is similar in Europe. The brothers from Holland, I'm going inshallah in a few weeks. It is not the same, but also Islam is flourishing there. Even in France, where we see, an iron fist against the Muslim community. In Germany, you know, the number of people who are accepting Islam, is an amazing. I remember, Sheikh Anas, I sat and, I understood that we need to, be relaxed in the discussion.
Yes. Just carry on, yes.
Stop me whenever you feel that. So with Pierre Vogel, he is a well-known da'iyah in Germany.
In Germany, yes.
He told me, this was maybe 10 years ago. He said to me, there was a magazine that is estimating the number of the followers of each faith.
Yes.
They stopped putting the number of Muslims. Wow. Why? Because they found that it is almost doubling.
Yes.
And they don't want to say that, to show that, look, Islam is spreading in Germany. And you name it. So I can continue, but the bottom line, brothers and sisters, don't feel depressed. Don't feel depressed. This deen is flourishing everywhere in Europe, in particular. Of course, in America, I have visited America once. The brothers are talking about something similar. And see, we are not talking about post-Gaza aggression. We are not talking about...
Because that has its own figures.
Exactly.
That has its own dynamics. Yes, I understand. Absolutely.
We are not talking about that.
True.
So, don't misunderstand me.
Yes.
I'm talking about just in normal circumstances. Gaza came and gave a booster to this situation. So we need to have that in mind when we talk about that. And that has an implication even on, on our vision. Because Sheikh Anas, and my PhD, I was in the beginning, I have to speak about the profile of the Muslim community.
Yes.
So the main presence of the Muslim community in the UK started, post the Second World War in order to rebuild Britain, as they say, after the First World War and the Second World War. At that time, we have massive immigration, mainly from the subcontinent.
Correct.
Their vision at that time is survival.
Correct.
Building masajid, not even building, having some places to pray, and then they will be overwhelmed if they manage to acquire a place with a proper hall, etc. Halal meat, and maybe the cemeteries, graveyards, some like simple mandatory practices to survive.
Yes.
But now I am pushing for what? Moving from survival to revival mode. Why? Because facts are supporting this.
Right.
We cannot live with that mentality of what? Of surviving while we are flourishing.
Right.
So now we need revival. And the the vision at that time, let us live peacefully as a minority. Okay? And many even thinkers, when they were talking about the vision of Muslims, they were quoting what? The Habasha people, the Muslims who emigrated to Abyssinia.
To Abyssinia, yes.
But I remember I had a serious discussion with Sheikh Yasir Qadi about this. I said, no, Sheikh Yasir Qadi, we should not take this as a model now. Okay, this was maybe 10 years plus. I said, because Muslims in Abyssinia, what is the key difference between us and them? They were looking to go back to Mecca and Medina.
Medina, yes.
But here,
yes,
we are not looking.
We're here to stay.
This is not to stay. This is our country.
Yes.
So even the word to stay, it means that you are coming and now you decided to stay. It is a fact. Your children now, they don't see themselves as Iraqis as they see themselves as British.
True.
Is that true or not?
Oh, true. True of their father. I sometimes, when I travel for work, after 2 weeks, I feel homesick.
Exactly.
I feel homesick for Harrow and Wembley.
Yes, exactly.
Not for Baghdad and Samarra.
Same, wallahi, it is the same with me. Many people, they say, do you really feel at home in London? I said, definitely. In London, in particular, when the plane lands in London, I feel kind of relaxed.
Yes, the same.
Yeah. So it is a reality. This is our country. Now, this should change the way we look at things. Because if you are living in order to protect yourself as a minority, you will think in a certain way. But if you, no, this is my country.
Correct.
Yeah. And I need, what do I need to see in my country? And this is exactly, sociologists, they talk about, renting and owning the house.
Yeah.
If you are renting, you don't care.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you care a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you are owning, that's why the areas where people are owning the houses, they are very concerned about security, the well-being of the society, etc. This should be our mentality. And I think many of our young people, they started to have this mentality subconsciously. We need to transform it from subconscious to a reality, and we need now to articulate it.
You've reminded me of something that my father tells me when he arrived in 1970, 52, 53 years ago, when he arrived in the UK. He says that when he was leaving Iraq, and he left in haste because he was being pursued by the regime, the Ba'ath regime.
This is in
1970, of the last century, yes.
Okay,
so 53, 54 years ago.
Yeah.
So when
at that time, who was the leader?
The leader of Iraq, the president, was Ahmed Hassan al-Bakr. Ahmed Hassan al-Bakr, and Saddam Hussein was the vice president. But the Ba'ath Party was viciously secular.
Yes.
Before the Hamla Imaniya and all of this in the 80s.
Yeah.
But when he was departing, the person who was a very loving relative of his, seeing him off, he said to him, Yani, you're going to go and you're going to lose your faith. You're going to lose your iman. You're going to a country where there is no faith. And he said, at the time, this shook me. This really shook me. And he said, it was constantly on my mind almost every day, because I need to maintain my faith. I need to maintain my identity.
Yes, yeah.
Whilst now, I am being called by friends of mine in various Arab and Muslim countries, telling me, we'd like to send our children to your Islamic centers and to your Islamic courses and to learn about their faith and to learn and to make hafz of the Quran.
Yeah.
And this is in my lifetime.
Yeah.
This is in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So the transformation is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And with that transformation on reality, we need now intellectually, to match, exactly, that is the exact word, to match this transformation in order to have a reflection of that on our political agenda or our political aspiration or on various issues. And it did happen. So, for example, if you analyze Islamic da'wah or movements, call it whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
I came to this country in 2001. Okay. If you analyze the situation since then, da'wah at that time was individual-centric.
Yes.
But now we are shifting towards what? Organizational-centric. And that, subhanAllah, whether that was intended or was not intended, it is the qadr of Allah and it is the support of Allah. وَمَا بِكُم مِّن نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Because if it is individual-centric, it has so many problems. As you can see, there is no shura. When this person goes astray, da'wah will go astray with him if he dies, etc. But now it is what? Organizational-centric.
Yeah.
And now we have organizations that are that are defending Muslims from a legal perspective. That didn't exist maybe 20 years ago.
Correct.
Yeah, most of our organizations were centered around the mosque, halal food, maybe schooling, maybe, as we said, graveyards, etc., cemeteries. But now we have like MEND.
Yes.
We have Cage.
Yes.
We have other different initiatives to support the Islamic community from a legal perspective, from a political perspective. We have now organizations, educational organizations. Yeah, we have the Association of Muslim Schools, we have NIDA Trust, we have different organizations to support what? To support the Muslim community from an educational perspective. In fact, we have so many organizations that produce books, Islamic material, curriculum, and they export their curriculums to other countries. So this is an achievement. We also have finance.
Yeah.
Finance. We have, it is true that, in the beginning, any experiment will not be perfect.
Of course.
Yeah, so we are learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have windows, you remember Amina Finance in HSBC and others. I don't know whether that is allowed. We are not promoting anyone, but we are just mentioning names.
Yeah.
And we have
virtually, as far as I know, every high street bank has a Sharia council.
Yes.
Or an advisory board.
Or a window. They call it window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
provide,
sort of.
Yeah. And then we have Rayan Bank. It was Islamic Bank of Britain.
Yes, before that,
Baraka, etc. So and now there are different institutions, by the way, Sheikh. Anas, we have primary finance. It is a pure halal initiative carried out by young British Muslims. And mashallah, it is expanding. Now their name, they rebranded themselves because of the expansion. Even now, mortgages are provided, Sharia compliant mortgages are provided by non-Islamic institutions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to, there are now 3 initiatives and we certified 2 of them.
Yes.
See, now this, we can go on and on talking about that. So we have, of course, now we have the Islamic Sharia Council to deal with marriages, divorces. We have the Reconcile. We have the Islamic Council of Europe, which was rebranded Islamic Council. Islamic Council, which I am part of, we started as Reconcile to deal with marriages in an institutional way.
Yes.
Marriages, divorces, Muslim personal law. Then we called it Islamic Council of Europe because we started to provide our services for
all of Europe.
All of Europe. And now, Sheikh Anas, we rebranded that into what? Islamic Council. Why? Because we started to provide our services
beyond Europe. Even.
Beyond Europe, for the entire world. And subhanAllah, after COVID, because we found that we can do our meetings through Zoom, online, etc. So we said, and there is now, unfortunately, Arab countries retreated in pushing Islam and Sharia. We said, at least the Muslim personal law has to be preserved and pushed. So that's why we took this initiative. Imagine, Muslim personal law is being pushed by an organization where?
In the UK.
In the UK.
Inshallah.
See, so all of these are positive signs. But so, as we said, we need to match that progress intellectually in terms of our vision. That's why now I am suggesting that our vision should be to see Britain as more Muslim friendly.
Well, this was going to be my next observation or question. All of this is fine and perfect if you're part of that community. What would your feeling be? What would your impression be if you're a non-Muslim in the UK? If you're part of those who read in the newspapers day in, day out, that there is a creeping Sharia, that the Muslims are here to overtake the country, that there is, Muslims are buying old churches and turning them into mosques. What impression is that?
This is a very good question. This is a very good question. See, it is a transformational period. And maybe the transformation that is taking place for us as Muslims and for the non-Muslim community is, quicker that we can adopt with. So the Muslim, I always like to put the blame or point, not the blame, point towards ourselves. The Muslim community needs to be more active in explaining this phenomena to the non-Muslims. And obviously, I consider it as a natural reaction by the non-Muslim community towards the Muslim community. Imagine, as we are speaking in a casual way, as you said. Next to my house, there is Azhar Academy. Azhar Academy was a church built in 1820 something. And it is one of the listed
years ago.
One of the listed buildings. They allowed them to have some minor modifications. And now it is a girls' Muslim school, and a mosque. Honestly speaking, Sheikh Anas, if you are a white person, you are white, mashallah, but you don't have blue eyes, but you are. I have blue eyes. Okay. So, and a Christian, white Christian, you pass by that and you see all of these with thobes and all those girls coming out with hijab, some of them with face cover. How are you going to feel?
Yeah.
It is natural.
Well, it is natural to be intimidated.
Yes.
To feel that something is wrong.
If something is wrong, what? Those people are taking over the country.
Yeah.
It is. So we should not blame them. This is a natural reaction. So it is up to who? Up to the Muslim community now to respond in a way that, listen, it is not a matter of taking over.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is our country. We are all sharing this country and we want the betterment of this country. And let us debate. Let us have open debates about what is better. Yeah. Hijab, no hijab, to allow people the freedom to experience different cultures, to even, debates over LGBT. Let us have that freedom. That's why I always say that part of our vision in the UK is to maintain real freedom.
Yeah.
In order to what? To be able to free to articulate yourself. We don't feel as Muslims the nature of Islam and the nature of which is misunderstood, al-wala' wal-bara'. No, it gives you confidence and immunity. So you are able to debate anything openly in Islam. And you don't feel intimidated. And and we have no problem with any idea. We can debate it, from atheism, LGBT, anything. Yeah. Political, non-political, ideological, non-ideological, financial, you name it. Yeah. So it is up to us as the Muslim community to be active in all fronts and to be engaging with the Muslim community. I always say, brothers, how many people in your street?
Yeah.
Your neighbors?
Yeah.
How many
Very few.
Very few. Yeah. Why don't you Eid? I was telling my wife, our neighbors are, from the Sikh community.
Yes.
By themselves, we are by themselves. This is an area we just moved to it, a few months ago. I said to her, send them, the Eid during Ramadan, before Eid, Ramadan, we send food, we received some food from the neighbors, etc. It is a good habit.
Yes.
Yeah. And it is part of the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ said to Aisha, if you cook something, increase the soup. And so you can
send to others,
neighbors, etc. So she said, what am I going to send to them? Maybe they don't eat our food. Okay, send them sweet. Okay, it's non-controversial. Send them sweet. So that opens the doors for discussions. Our street, if the previous neighbors, they used to have an initiative to clean it. They come, I think, every 2-3 months. They moved now, and we will start that, to clean it.
Yeah.
So if the Muslim community was more active and engaging, and they don't feel intimidated. Yeah. Just now, wallahi, Sheikh Anas, when I was coming, one of our brothers, he told me about a very strange initiative. They said that they have a global initiative to encourage people to try fasting.
MashaAllah.
Yeah. And he said, we have now a few hundreds, and there are, people from different faiths. Yeah. Even we had an Islamophobic person. He said, I want to try this something that you do. Yeah. And he said, well, you feel different.
Yeah.
You feel different. So in brief,
You've reminded me of an initiative that a beautiful family in Leeds did several years ago. That when the man was busy with his studies, he came here just for a few years to complete his master's and then his PhD. And at the beginning, his wife had almost nothing to do. She was at home. She was doing nothing. So she had the idea that she would tell the neighbors, anyone who wishes to leave their children, their young children, with me during the day, so that they can go shopping, they can work, they can do whatever. And all of a sudden, everyone, and all her neighbors, none of them were Muslim, would leave their children in the morning with this woman whom they trusted implicitly with their, to leave their children with. And they regarded her as being a model for everyone.
Yeah.
So these kinds of initiatives to get to know others. And once again, I touch on, and I take this from the point that you mentioned, this intellectual transformation. That all of a sudden now there are pockets of the community that are going out and inviting in new, creative, original, and quite meaningful ways. And that's the new method of da'wah.
Exactly.
That's how da'wah is taking place.
Exactly. And even I'm saying that we need now carefully to move into the area of arts. Because non-Muslim respond to arts maybe more than others. Okay. I mean, more than other ways. Okay. And it is a soft way of, da'wah. So this is, and by the way, I always say, brothers and sisters, whenever we use the word da'wah, don't think of it in the classical way. That we are talking about preaching. No. What you mentioned is a way of da'wah. What we mentioned is a way of da'wah. We need to be creative in sharing da'wah. And let me just mention one more thing, because I'm subhanallah, time is flying. Sheikh Anas, I want to record this important message, which is, da'wah before Gaza was mainly spiritual da'wah. To help non-Muslims to go through the spiritual, social, psychological challenges they face. But the main angle was the spiritual angle. Which was successful, which is needed. But now the entire world, especially the young generation, they have seen the hypocrisy of the global political systems, or most of them, especially within the West. And they have seen also the flaws of the United Nations organizations.
International community.
The international community, international law. They have seen that, well, you cannot stop a genocide. There is something wrong here. They have seen, even, the recent hits against Iran, although, okay, no one said Iran has the right to defend itself.
Exactly.
No one said this. Of course, we are not talking about Arab countries. Forget about Arab countries, because they don't present us, or Muslim countries. They for the occupation to attack the embassy in a sovereign country, to
violate two countries' sovereign. Sovereignty.
And to kill 7. And no one said, well, Iran has the right to defend. This doesn't mean, by the way, I know people now will jump and they will say, I am Iran sympathizer. No. I'm not Iran sympathizer. I'm not.
Understood.
Okay.
But if you have parameters, they must be consistent.
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about.
Exactly. And I'm taking here from a political perspective. I'm not talking. And whether Iran did this just to show off, I'm not going into that. So because I know whenever you mention Iran, whenever a person like me will mention Iran,
it's a highly controversial issue.
They will say, oh, he's Iran sympathizer, blah, blah, blah. We are not talking about that. I'm talking about, so the Z generation, they call them the Z generation, in America. They have seen this hypocrisy. Now, they are looking for alternatives. Are we, as Muslims in the UK, in Europe, and globally, are we in a position now to provide Islam as an alternative, as a civilizational alternative, as an alternative for these global systems? What does Islam say about international law? What does Islam say about aggression? What is the Islamic solution for the Jewish people? what is the Islamic solution for the occupation or the so-called Israel? What is the Islamic solution for that? How does Islam deal with minorities? Now, if some people, even the LGBTQ, if some people say, well, if you have a Sharia-based country, how are you going to deal with the LGBTQ? Yeah, these are, key questions. Are we able, even if it is theoretical, because theoretical is intellectual, and when you present Islam as a civilizational, comprehensive solution, that will attract people not to look at it as a spiritual alternative or as a spiritual solution for their spiritual problems. No, they will consider it as what? As a true civilizational solution for the problems humanity is facing.
The fact that, you talk about this is something that I've been writing and commenting and speaking about for a while now, that despite the incredible advancements in science, technology, communications, transportation, all of these issues that have obviously made life much more easy, better, more facilitated.
Yes.
Despite that, we are at times when there are more wars than ever before. There are more deaths out of violence than ever before. There is more crime than ever before.
More depression, more mental problems.
More mental problems, more suicides.
Yeah, I think they said in 2030 or 1 out of 5 men will have a mental problem.
It's, you talk about marital breakdowns.
Exactly.
Societal collapses.
Yeah.
You talk
birth rate going down.
By the way, a few days ago, and this was something that was fairly horrific. I was listening to a radio show, and they were talking about, for years now, we've been talking about euthanasia, about Maut al-Rahma, about ending one's life when they are terminally ill. And how people used to have to travel to Switzerland or to other countries
to do it
in order, because it's still illegal here. And there's this. The discussion in that show was about something else, about now institutions being legalized that would allow people to commit suicide, to facilitate committing suicide.
Yes.
People who aren't ill, they're just troubled.
Yeah.
They're just sad because they missed out on something. They just, I want to end my life. I've had enough.
Yeah.
Oh, and there is an institution that you can go to, pay, and it will facilitate you. The kind of what I see as a collapse of humanity.
Exactly. Yes.
A collapse of moral compass, of moral guidance. And this, I agree with you absolutely. Islam provides solutions, not only a solution. Provides solutions.
And I think my message, to all du'at all over the world is to be ready for this stage as quick as possible. Now it is our opportunity to provide Islam to the entire humanity as a solution on political level, social level. Of course, a spiritual level is the first one. Economy.
Yes.
Economy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
People are committing suicide because of debts.
In Britain, the UK, one of the greatest countries in the world, we have over 3 to 4 million people who are around the poverty line.
Yes.
Either they can't feed their children, or they can't, if they can't pay their bills, they can't heat their houses in winter.
Yes.
And this is the United Kingdom. We're not talking about a backward country.
So imagine that. And 80%, I remember this statistic some time ago, 80% of the people, their main worry is what? The debts. Because of the credit card, because of so the point I would like to stress on, brothers and sisters, the du'at, the Muslim community, the Muslim leaders, they have to now transform themselves in order to match the you were talking about the challenges in the beginning, to match the challenges the world is facing, not just the ummah. The world is changing in order to take this opportunity, to seize this opportunity to pass the deen of Allah Jalla wa'ala. Because Allah Jalla wa'ala entrusted us on this earth for one reason, which is what? To share his religion with the entire humanity, to make sure that his deen is the deen that is adopted not by individuals but by systems, in order for the entire humanity to benefit from this deen. Of course, not only in the dunya, but most importantly, what? In the akhirah. Because this is the creation of Allah Jalla wa'ala, and Allah Jalla wa'ala, he is the supreme being. He wants his creation to worship someone other than Allah Jalla wa'ala? No, to worship him. This is a great opportunity, and we really maybe from a practical perspective, we need maybe conferences, brainstorming sessions in order to see how we can pass this to the entire world. Maybe some countries who have, maybe Muslim countries who may have like aspiration to participate in this process and to give da'wah, without naming some, they should jump on this. And when we are talking about corrupted leaders, and that doesn't, free them from the responsibility of sharing Islam, as a solution for the humanity. So they should establish TV channels, they should establish dialogues, they should think of ways, they should support the du'at in order to, this is our opportunity to share Islam with the entire humanity.
What is, because of your involvement particularly, and the issue of personal law is extremely important, because there's very little information about it, yet there is incredible need for it.
Yes, agree.
Now, I'd like to get an impression from you regarding how impactful this will be on the Muslim community particularly. But also, English law allows for much of this to be enshrined within the realms of English law. What kind of impact can this have, not only on the Muslim community, but on wider society as well?
Okay. Yeah. This is it is a key question. And I don't know whether we have time to discuss it, but take for example, just one simple thing. And sometimes you might use trivial examples to manifest a real problem. The rights of parents.
Yes.
Yeah, the rights of parents. How many elderly people you see that they are walking around and they just want anyone to knock on their door to say to them, how are you? Not, do you need help or not?
Yes.
Why is this crisis? Why is it there? Because this thaqafa, this culture, these instructions, these values, the rights of parents are not shared with the non-Muslim community. They don't teach it. So that's why you might find elderly people, they have children, wealthy children, and they might visit them maybe once a month.
Yes.
So now, if lucky, exactly.
Yes.
When I was in the hospital, when I had cancer, alhamdulillah, whenever visitors come, even nurses, the whole hospital know that they are coming for this guy. Okay. While you see the patients around me, hardly anyone visits them. Hardly. And that's why I always say to people when they discuss, this atheism, I say, don't debate with those who, promote atheism. I say, just let them visit the hospital. Let them see a Muslim guy and a non-Muslim guy and see the difference between that. That is more than enough to realize that, no, this deen is the true religion. People are suffering because of lack of those Islamic values. Birth rate. What is the solution for birth rate drop?
Yes.
In the UK, as you know, we are an aging country. The whole of Europe is like this. Japan, they say in 2050, the population may drop to the half of it. Those problems, what is the solution? Family values. Which values? The Islamic values. The number, by the way, in the UK, not many people know that almost every week there are 2 to 3 women, killed every week, in the UK. I forgot the exact figure, but around 60 something of those ladies are killed by a partner, ex-partner, ex-husband, someone who is related to them. When he sees that they are cheating behind their back, or they are leaving them, or they are taking the children and leaving them alone. A friend of mine, he was saying that one of his colleagues, teachers, he's in a secondary school, he left a message that he is committing suicide because he found that his wife, she left him, okay, fine, but he found that she left him because of a friend of his. She was cheating behind his back. We can go on and on talking about those. So these are the values that we want when we talk about Muslim personal law. These are the values that we want to share with the world. Let me share. I don't know about time, but one time we were visited in the Islamic Sharia Council. When I was in the Islamic Sharia Council, we were visited by delegates from a European country. They asked us not to disclose this. And high people, maybe 6 or 7 of them, from the Ministry of Social something, okay? And the deputy minister visited us in the Islamic Sharia Council, and he said, please don't share this with anyone, and this is not a formal visit. This is an informal visit, okay? It's fine. So he was talking that they are exploring, bringing as something like this Sharia council in their country. I don't want to mention the name.
Right.
Okay? One of the advanced European countries. And he said, the Somali community, Turkish community, some Arabs, they need this, and we are exploring this. And okay, what are your concerns? He said, in marriage, for example, divorce is difficult. Divorce is easy in Islam. And the man can divorce his wife. The wife cannot divorce her husband. I said, this is not exactly. The wife can apply for. He said, but it's still relatively easy. Wallahi, Sheikh Anas. Wallahi. And this is from Allah. After a discussion, I said to him, are you married? He said, no. I said, you are living alone? He said, no, I'm living with my partner or girlfriend.
Yes.
He was around 70. He's 60 plus, a senior person in the ministry, deputy minister. I said, why? Wallahi, Allah, subhanallah, this was a trap. He said, I was married. When I had divorce, she took half of my assets, and it was a nightmare. I said to him, can you repeat what you said, please? He said, I was married. And I said, what about this partner? He said, if we don't agree, I will say, leave peacefully, and that's it. I said, so which one is better? He didn't realize that he was what? He was responding to his claim that divorce in Islam is easy, and why it is better to have the Western system of divorce. You need to go through a procedure, etc., and you will share the assets, etc. Because of this, they don't want to get married, and as a result, they don't want to have what? Children, and the whole society is collapsing, because we all know that marriage is the cornerstone of the society. Anyway, this is just, I wanted to share this.
So how possible is it to impact? I'll tell you something again. as I was coming to the studio today, there was a discussion about the banning of smoking. The Conservatives have proposed a policy to ban smoking. In the discussion, people were talking about addiction. And the problem of addiction. And how this contravenes the argument that, well, leave people to have free choice. They say when someone is addicted, they don't have free choice. But also in the argument, many brought up, they said, well, listen, smoking is bad, but it's not the worst. Why not alcohol? Why do you allow alcohol? And what are you going to do in order to curtail alcohol? Because of all the illnesses, not only on the individual, but on society as a whole. It costs the NHS billions every single year in treating domestic abuse, crime, murders, all,
even housing,
everything,
because they have to separate them. And
absolutely, security, police, everything. It costs the economy billions.
I remember in 2000, it was on all the statistics, 85 billion. The estimated cost.
5 billion. So the question is, how is it possible that those kinds of laws, personal laws, Islamic personal laws, can be proposed to wider society to adopt in order to solve the social diseases, the social illnesses that we face today?
See, this is a huge project. It is not something. The solution is not something simple, because there is a political angle for it. Because politically, the word Sharia, they want it to be intoxicated.
It's problematic.
Yes. So, and even if you remember David Cameron when they stole his bike. And he said, Wallahi, I'll bring Sharia. He didn't say, Wallahi, I'll bring Sharia. You remember that? He said, I'll bring Sharia. This was what? A natural reaction when, his bike, expensive bike, and which means that their fitrah is calling for something, but as a political leader, because of the political backlash, when the previous Archbishop of Canterbury, when he said Britain can benefit from some Sharia aspects, he was attacked,
of course,
by the tabloids, by the media, etc. So there is a political angle here. This is one thing. From us, I always, point the fingers towards us. We need now to have a form of ijtihad. I'm not talking about liberal ijtihad. No, proper ijtihad, to be able to implement elements of Islamic law, or to offer elements of Islamic law to Islamic personal law to the wider society as an alternative. We need a spiritual angle, because the iman is the foundation for Muslim personal law. In Surah Al-Talaq, it is the surah, despite it is 1.5 page, surah that talks about divorce in Islam. How many times Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ? 4 times directly, 5 times. وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِ يُسْرًا. Because talaq and the social system, the foundation of all systems is what? The iman.
Iman and closeness to Allah, and awareness.
And awareness and believing in akhirah. So we need also that framework, because many of the non-Muslims, if they don't have this, then why do they need to submit? So we need actually different angles in order to, it is a huge project, and we need different campaigns as well by different people in order to present that. By the way, Sheikh Anas, I found that intellectuals and academics are more receptive.
Correct. Yes, I found the same.
Because they know, they think. And this leads me to something else globally, Sheikh Anas, maybe we need to talk about it. now the prevailing culture is the culture of tafaha. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, of frivolity. It's something
frivolity.
And
there was a recent book that was published by this American.
By Alan Denon.
Alan Denon. Yes, Alan Denon.
Yeah.
Okay, about ثقافة التفاهة.
Yes.
Yeah. But, and that's why I say, brothers, we need people to think. Just think. Yeah. Young people, including our children, they don't think. Mm-hmm. And if they think, wallahi, they will what? They will reach to the haqq. Right. And that's why thinking, by the way, was encouraged in the Quran.
Yes.
Yeah. Aql, they say, the what's his name? Pope the second, he said that Islam doesn't encourage thinking. No. Christianity doesn't encourage thinking. In Islam, Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَيَجْعَلُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. Those who do not think, they will be in a very troubling situation. قالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب الجحيم. Yeah. So thinking is mandatory in Islam. Absolutely. We need people to think.
Yeah.
And we need campaigns, to encourage young people in particular to think. And subhanallah, Gaza, started to wake people up, especially the young generation, the Z generation, to start thinking.
True.
Yeah. And because they started to think, they started to see some reality around them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this should be now a huge element of our da'wah, which is to encourage people to think. That's why America, wants to ban TikTok, etc., because it is exposing the younger generation to some realities America doesn't want them to.
It wants to hide.
Yeah.
أكرمك الله شيخ هيثم ما شاء الله عليك تبارك الله.